Good morning, JJ back here again. Thought I'd come on here and just kind of give a real quick update for anyone that's been viewing my Babble videos with any regularity. Thank you so much. I've been getting a lot of great feedback on that. It's I didn't know how it was going to turn out. The whole kind of idea is kind of just a selfish endeavor on my part. Just talking about things I feel like talking about, and I'm glad at least some people are watching the videos and finding helpful ideas or interesting tidbits, things like that. I think starting with this video, what I've been thinking about doing is just devoting the weekly Friday, or whatever day it might be, Friday for right now, but the weekly upload, I'd still like to kind of maintain a video where I do a longer deep dive into things that are deserving of long videos. Just doing long videos for the sake of having long videos is, it's pointless. It's like a long song for the point of a long song. Just get to the point. So I'm trying to get to the point. So weekly videos that are deserving of a deep dive, some of my setup, maybe thoughts on, gear where I really have particular thoughts or choices that I've made. Those kinds of videos warrant a longer run time. But there are just some things I would love to talk about, and I would like to get the videos out a bit faster. So what I want to start doing is some videos or subjects that don't quite require the long run time and the deep dive. I'd like to start uploading with those with a little bit more regularity. So starting with this one, some subjects where I talk about your favorite albums, just, little things like little pieces of gear, questions I get from people on my channel regarding, something that only needs one answer. I'd love to just put these videos out as kind of a more casual approach with it, and just there's a lot that I'd like to get through. This channel and this particular section is a selfish endeavor on my part, and I could talk for hours about subjects. I love doing deep dives on things, but just to get through the amount of stuff that I'd personally kind of like to cover and give my thoughts on, I gotta tighten up the ship and get through these things. And speaking of tightening up the ship, this is a 2-minute intro, so let's get to the matter that I'd like to talk about. I've been working on a project, and the project has really kind of brought me back to thinking about albums. And in my opinion, we are very much in kind of a singles-focused, era of music. We're kind of harkening back to, the 50s and the 1960s, late 60s, when you started getting progressive bands coming in and doing concept albums. And obviously into the 70s, we get into the time when the album is of utmost importance. And the entire concept, the packaging, and all this stuff is all part of it. It's an experience versus just consuming a song. And in my opinion, I know it still does happen. But it is definitely outside of the mainstream, where albums are still put out in this kind of guise. And we're very much focused on this idea of singles. And the new project I've been working on, we've really focused on kind of like the album, and getting away from the idea of like just releasing it in singles and thinking about it in a very compartmentalized format. It's all about the whole. So the art, the packaging, the concepts, the lyrics, these things are kind of like all tying together with each other. And the best way to experience the whole thing is kind of as a lot of thought was put into sequencing. We're doing pretty much an exclusive kind of pressing to vinyl with it, to kind of, once again, it's a little bit of a selfish endeavor, but to maintain kind of the integrity of the whole thing. We're an upstart band. We have no kind of grand illusions of this thing, going here, going there, but we're hoping that we can find like a niche kind of demographic, people that enjoy these kinds of releases and things, that there's a bigger picture at play, and you can enjoy the large format artwork and, you know, reading the lyrics and seeing these little details and stuff. And so thinking about all of these things, it got me thinking about some of the albums that meant a lot to me growing up, and as a, you know, even now, sometimes I pull these things out after having not looked at them for quite a long time, and you know, I'm amazed. Like the concepts and the art and just these things come together, and whether it's, you know, a happy accident, let's call it, it's serendipity, whatever it is, it's you know, these things mean a lot to a lot of people, and in my opinion, if you didn't have the whole package, I think the whole thing becomes slightly weaker. You know, it's like a good band. If you have one weak member in the band overall is weak. I think albums are kind of the same. If there's not a strong art concept, if there's not, you know, the production kind of doesn't go along with it, like you have these things together. And so it's what we strive for. Whether we get there or not, that's up to everyone else to decide. But we definitely tried to accomplish something like that with this upcoming project. And this album was kind of a catalyst for me. I started listening to it a lot in the last little while, and it was hugely kind of a guideline for me, where this is the, you know, pinnacle, in my opinion, of concept meets songs, meets production, meets artwork, characterization, you know, tying in movie elements like sci-fi, all these things that I'm into. And if you don't know this album, this is Iron Maiden's Somewhere in Time. And just as far as the singles go, you know, there's obviously Wasted Years would have been likely the big single that, if you know Iron Maiden, you might know Wasted Years. It was you know, quite a big song for them. I won't blame you if you don't know The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. There's some strange subject matter on this album, whether it doesn't all quite tie in, but there's some things here. My personal favorite songs off this album are, there's a lot of good ones. Stranger in a Strange Land might be my favorite Iron Maiden song. One of the first kind of later, after your Ace is High and after your Number of the Beast, that might be one of the first kind of videos that I saw. And, you know, just it blew my mind. Nico McBrain, the drummer, he had a very iconic drum set during this era. It's become very renowned with the fans, and it's very simple compared to some of his newer kits and some of the later kits in Iron Maiden, but it's definitely eye-catching. You can see a lot of influence with other drummers from that drum set. So Stranger in a Strange Land, and another song which I just did a cover of, Deja Vu, which is incredible. The drumming on this is incredible. This is it's really saying something, but as far as Nico's drumming goes, this is a high watermark for drumming. I just saw Iron Maiden about 6 months ago, and as you may or may not know, Nico has now retired from playing in Iron Maiden in a live capacity. So luckily, I did get to see him perform one last time with the band on the most recent tour in 2024. And glad that I got to go see that. But the tour was a kind of a combination tour, and this album was featured quite heavily in the tour. And you know, there was some songs. Obviously, they were going to play, you know, Wasted Year, Stranger in a Strange Land. And there was some nice surprises in there. A song called Caught Somewhere in Time. I believe it opened the show, and then they went right into Stranger in a Strange Land, which was a very awesome 1-2 punch. But there are just some things on here drumming-wise that Nico, in his current medical condition and you know, whatever's afflicted him has obviously affected his playing somewhat. And there was just some songs they were not going to touch. Alexander the Great, I believe, they closed the show with, which was amazing to hear as well, because that is a big fan favorite. Other influence from this album besides the artwork, I mean, it's just, you could sit and listen to this record, which I've done many times, and the artwork is incredible. like the detail, the band members, the caricatures these guys are doing, the tie-ins to the previous albums with the Egyptian themes from Power Slave, and you know, Aces High Bar, just all these amazing tie-ins. I don't know why it's escaping me, but this has to be a Derek Riggs. The artwork, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know, but I can't imagine this is not something that Derek's Rig has done. It's not on here anywhere easily accessible. Either way, whoever the artist is, this is an incredible piece of artwork. I would love to have a full, you know, poster or, you know, just like a reproduction of this would be incredible. The liner notes, or the lyrics notes, you know, is not really much, just some guys on an ATV. Oh, it's not even an ATV, it's like a space buggy. Anyways. And tight jeans for days. The production on this is top notch. Martin Birch, you know, he's the sixth member. Well, you know, later on the seven, whatever. There's been a bunch of guys in Maiden. There's more guys than five, but at this time there was 5 guys in the band. Martin Birch is, you know, clearly a very important element into their sound. You know, but yeah, this album. Just as a package, this is definitely a high watermark in music for myself. Just, it's the whole package. Like I said, I'm a big fan of just sitting and listening to albums. You know, no distractions, just taking in the artwork and, you know, losing myself in kind of like these, you know, these things that the art is bringing forth, like these concepts and, you know, it makes the experience of listening to albums so much more experiential. Maybe that's a good word for it. Like it's just so much more all-encompassing. And it's, in my opinion, it's kind of a lost art in the mainstream. I would love to see, like, you know, some of the big bands of now, which it's hard for me to name because I'm, you know, more of a legacy act person myself, but there are definitely some bands that will, you know, try to do a reprise of these kinds of ideas, and I'm glad that that's holding on. But Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time, definitely my favorite Iron Maiden album, huge influence on me. And yeah, if you're into concept kind of albums and art and all this stuff, definitely check this out. The music, whether it does anything for you or not, that's completely up to you. I don't think it's a secret what Iron Maiden sounds like at this point. If you're unfamiliar with them, where you been? But you know, yeah, it's this is a hugely enjoyable record for me. I could listen to it 5 times in a row and you know, never ever get bored of it. So check this one out if you haven't. This has been the one about Somewhere in Time from Iron Maiden. Cheers.